Dr. Brian Scott with you as we begin another week of Insights to the End Times. If you have not been with us in the past, I encourage you to go to our website, insightstotheendtimes.com, and you'll find where all of our previous podcasts are listed. We have been sharing with you the various scriptures in the Bible, particularly in the New Testament, that point to the end of the age, the end of time as we know it. The world's coming to a point where great things are going to happen. The world calls it the Great Reset. I think the Lord would also call it the Great Reset, but it's on His terms. And where we're headed is 7 years of tribulation are coming before the end of the earth, and then it's going to be restructured with Jesus Christ coming back to the earth from heaven, and He will rule and reign for 1,000 years. This pattern follows the creation story in Genesis chapter 1. 6 days of creation, 1 day of rest. 6 days translates into 6,000 years according to the Apostle Peter, who stated that a day in the eyes of the Lord is equivalent to 1,000 years on the earth, and vice versa. So we are looking at 6,000 years of life on earth. Up to the time of the birth of Jesus was a 4-day period, or in other words, 4,000 years, historically shown to be accurate and true. Jesus died and was buried, and then He rose from the dead. He was resurrected into heaven, and the best historical records indicate that was 30 AD. Now we are in the 2-day period known as the church age. That's coming to a quick conclusion. If the math is simplified, 2,000 years added on to the 30 years when He went to heaven would bring us to the year 2030. We don't know if that's accurate or not, because only Father God knows that. He's the only one who has that information, but we do know there are many signs indicating that we're getting closer and closer to the end. We were studying last week about the perilous times and the days in which we live. There's 2 verses I want you to be aware of. In 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 says, the Apostle Paul's writing to Timothy, who's the pastor of the church in Ephesus, and he makes this statement. Know this, in the last days, perilous times will come. The word perilous means extremely dangerous, tremendously horrible days are coming in the last days, and that means the very last of the last of the last days. Then he begins to define some of the characteristics of that, things we'll see in those days. Verse 2 says, men will be lovers of themselves and lovers of money. That's the beginning. Those are 2 items, 2 factors. There are 20 to 25 factors in total, depending on how you look at the last 5 in these verses. But I want to look at lovers of money with you for a few minutes today. And you might say, well, where's the peril in loving money? I'm glad you asked me that question. In the book of Timothy, 1 Timothy chapter 6, Paul says this, the love of money, note, it's the love of money is the root of all evil. This verse 2 says lovers of money, so that qualifies for the root of all evil. And when you combine lovers of self and lovers of money, you have individuals who exist to accumulate money, because they define money as power and authority. So you end up with the rich, wealthy people of this earth who rule over many others. They dictate policy, they dictate legislation, they dictate to the elected officials. They're pretty powerful people. They have a lot of weight, they have a lot of power. Now, we have seen this power being misused and abused. In the Freedom Convoy that hit our nation's capital, Ottawa, Ontario, last year, 2022, long-distance truckers gathered together to protest against the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions. They demanded a meeting with the government officials, especially our Prime Minister. That was not provided to them. So they stayed, and as a result of staying, things got messy and could have been resolved likely with some meetings, but that's now water under the bridge. So what the situation evolved into is a government instructed the banks to freeze all the accounts of the various truckers, and in addition, they froze some of the accounts of people who had contributed funds towards their cause. We heard and saw reported that if you gave $20 towards the cause, you could have your bank account frozen. That's a lot of control in the hands of someone other than the person who owns the account. I have a friend who went into the bank to make a deposit on a Monday. He objected to some of the things he saw on screens behind the tellers' wickets, and he brought it to the attention of the bank manager. It did not go over well, and the following Monday when he went in to make deposits, all of his accounts were frozen and had to be reopened as if he had never banked in that branch before. It was insulting, it was demeaning, it was retribution for expressing his opinions. Since when have we lost the right to have an opinion? Well, in perilous times, may. So we are looking at all these rules and regulations that have been put into effect without our knowledge in many cases. These are perilous times. We're losing freedoms that we didn't even know we've lost. And we're heading into even more dangerous times as we approach the end of this time period we're living in, and as we approach the 7 years of tribulation that is coming. Please go back to our website. Please take a look at previous episodes of our insights. There's so much information that's relevant to today, and it will show you where we are in these perilous days in which we're living. I'll see you tomorrow. Got some good stuff for you. See you then. Bye.